Hello all, welcome to this new video under the Office Procedure series, and in this video I'll be talking about the file system which is generally used in government offices, and how to do it categorically and how to improve upon the existing file systems. To understand also, the basic aim is to help the dealing assistant understand this filing system so that the process can be optimized. So essentially, let us start with the parts. So in a proper typical government file, there are certain parts of the file, generally two, but also there can be other in places somewhere there are also three major parts. So let us discuss what they are. The most common is note sheet. So the note sheet, when you open a file, on the left side, the light green color compilation of paper, that is referred to as the note sheet. The next part is the correspondence. Whatever issue receipts has been done in this particular context of this file, they are clubbed together and they form the correspondence. Now, and there is another to it, is that the appendices to note sheet or correspondence. So sometimes there are some thicker basically this correspondence are there, like act, manual or something like that, so that is kept as appendices to the correspondence or to the note sheets as an extra supplement in particular cases where it is required. So essentially a file will have these three components. Essentially it will have these two components. Sometimes you also see the appendix, so that is what you have to understand. So note sheet, basically the first thing in the note sheet has that it has to be that light green color. Somewhere in many times I have seen that sometimes it's a white color is also used. So generally the thing is that white color paper is used to make these order sheets. When it comes to magistrates also, all those order sheets are done in white paper. So that is why, to make that distinction, this use of light green color has come in a note sheet, and it has been followed throughout the offices. So for the sake of standardization, it should be that note sheet should be light green color, standard note sheet should be there, and white color should not be used because that is used generally for order sheets. So this is note sheet. Now both note sheets and these correspondence have to be what? Numbered. They have to be numbered. So it has to be chronological order. Basically, if you move from left to right, that should also transcend chronologically the events which have been happening, the notes which have been recorded, and the correspondence which has come, that has to be numbered, and the notes and correspondence have to be basically chronological. They should be as per this chronological sequence, so that it is easy to find when you want to find a particular note of based on certain date, when you want to find a particular correspondence based on date. So all these notes and correspondence, they both have to be numbered and arranged chronologically in a basically chronological order. Now what you have to understand is that bulky file. As you see, with time, more and more correspondence comes, more and more notes are being made. Every day some new correspondence is coming. Slowly the file becomes bulky. So after, generally it is advised that when it crosses 150 to 200 pages of correspondence, you should open a different subsequent volume. Now it is very important to understand that the file number, whatever was there earlier, it remains the same, but you have to close the file because it has become bulky, and then you have to open a new volume. So the next one will be, if the first one was volume 1, it will be 2, then 3, so on and so forth. So if the file is bulky, open a new volume. When this cover is torn, so these are all what? Under the maintenance of file. So these are basically the duties of the dealing assistant, which I will discuss further. But when the file cover is torn, it should be immediately replaced with a new file cover. These are all commonsensical things, but since it is mentioned in the standard procedure, same for note sheet, same for correspondence, if there is something is damaged, it has to be properly replaced and kept properly. Now, another very important thing is that this common mistake which is done by many dealing assistant is that the corrected drafts, there is the first draft which is put to the officer, then there are various versions of correction. Suppose it is put up to the branch officer, he will do certain correction, send it back, then it will go to the additional deputy commissioner, he will do the certain corrections. So in the process there are various versions of this draft, right? So all these versions have to be stored in the correspondence, in the file, in the correspondence section of the file, not only the final draft. Now let us understand why this is important. Of course, in general communication and general subordinate offices, it might not be of that relevant, but in bigger levels, when change in draft can also impact the change in policy, and that small change in draft can result a big change in terms of impact in the whole policy, in the decision, or in various things. It can have a great impact. So what changes were made by whom, that also should be recorded. So of course in an e-filing system it's already automatically recorded, but otherwise also all the corrected drafts should be kept in the correspondence for further action. Now with regard to file system, what happens is every day different kind of new scheme is coming, or new kind of correspondence is coming. So you see new and new files are being opened by the dealing assistant every day. There is hardly any space left in the branch, but more and more files are coming. So what is happening to the old files? Everything is being dumped only. If something is not required, still it is being maintained. So there is something called retention schedule. Retention schedule. So now what is, so every file there is a designated life. Now it depends on various what kind of office you are working on. Either your state government must have given some kind of record retention schedule, or the Department of Administrative Reforms, they have their standard retention schedule. So based on that you have to do weeding out. So if certain kind of files are outdated, they are not required anymore. I'll give you one example. So there is one file which has been opened to maintain the casual leave records of staff. So once the calendar year is over, there is no requirement of this file anymore, because new file has been opened for the new calendar year, because CL record is of no significance, because these leaves cannot be encashed when the staff is retiring. So that file can be, the previous year's CL record file can be disposed of. So there are many such files which can be disposed of after 5 years, after 10 years, after 15 years, so on and so forth. The point I am trying to make is that we have to optimize the file storage, and that is why this weeding out exercise is very, very important in government offices, and that should be done as per the retention schedule. Now how do we give this page numbers in these notes and correspondence? So the standard way is to, on every page, either notes or correspondence, on the top right side the numbering should be done, preferably in red ink, and the same procedure should be followed in correspondence also, and also in notes. And one important point here to be mentioned, if a correspondence is a bulky one which is having 50 pages, so you have to number all of them, all the 1 to 50, because in the notes section the officer may like to refer to page number 23 of the correspondence, right? So that he will just go to that page, see what is the page number, and he can mention in the noting. So that the point is, all the pages in the correspondence should be properly numbered, and on the top right side, with preferably with the red ink, it should be numbered. Now next discussion is that how do we name a file. So this is also very, very important to maintain a standard format of naming a file in an office. So that is also very important. So I will give you a standard format. Suppose I am talking about my office, Deputy Commissioner's office, East Taro Hills. So generally a file number will look like, it will start with file number, and then we have to decide some kind of coding pattern. So for East Taro Hills we can start EGH, then slash, then next you can think of what branch it is. So let's say confidential branch. So I will give a code con, and then as per the file index, the new file which I am opening is the 23rd file. So it will be dot 23, and then it is being opened in this year. So what is the year? Then you can mention 2022. So this will become the unique file number of that new file. Once this file is bulky, then you close the file, and then the next file will have the same name, plus it will have volume 2. Then the next one will have volume 3, 4, so on and so forth. So this is the standard way of naming files in an office. These things can vary as per your requirement, but this is generally the standard format. And two things are very important here. What is the number of file? This should be as per the next available number in the file index and the year of opening. So in the file number itself you will get to know all this information. So that is why it is very important. Now there are certain types of file which I want to discuss here. One is personal file. Personal files. Now for every staff, it is very important that the personal file of every staff is properly opened and it is maintained, and it has all the information relating to that particular official or staff. Be it at every level, everyone has to have a personal file. All the appointment orders, leave orders relating to their transfer orders, posting orders, punishment relating to salary, etc. Everything should be maintained in this personal files. When that person is transferred from one branch to other, the file should also move and it should be regularly updated. So this is these personal files are very important, especially what happens is sometimes in pension cases, when a person retires, suddenly it is realized that his documents are not in order. Because why? His personal file was not maintained properly by himself also and by the corresponding branch also. So one very good practice, and this is one suggestion I want to give to all those who are working in government offices. Of course, there is one personal file which is being maintained in the office for you, but a personal copy at your own level, at your house, you should maintain a separate personal file with all the documents relating to you. You should maintain, so that at the time of retirement or at the time of you leaving or switching it to some other organization, it will come handy, and all these documents are very important, and it should be updated on a timely basis. Now next is that part files. Now what are part files? Sometimes what may happen is, when one PUC comes, paper under consideration, the respective file may be engaged somewhere else, that it is engaged, it is with some officer already, or it has been sent to some other department on a reference. So now what to do? The file is not there, the matter is important. So a part file is opened, and then the PUC is put in that part file, and then it is addressed. So this is what you have to understand, that it is like a parallel system. When the main file is not available for some reason, one part file is opened, and the PUC, because that PUC is urgent, basically we process the PUC from that file, and we close that after the consideration of the PUC. So this is very important, which has to be remembered and implemented when such cases arise. Now the next topic is basically what we have to understand is file register. I have already mentioned in brief file index or file register. Now, why this is very important? So, as I said, when you are opening a file, this number comes from the file index. So, every branch basically has a file index, name of the file, number of the file, when it was opened, purpose, by whom it was opened, who was the officer. So all these details are there. So once you go to a branch and you see the file index, you basically know in which year which file was opened, how many total files are there. So this file index will help you in proper file management. It's a very important document, and it should be ensured by all branch officers that this document is there in the every branch. So this has to be ensured accordingly. Now another very important part is level of disposal. Level of disposal. Now it should be mentioned that whenever whatever levels a file goes through, it should not exceed, should be less than equal to 4. So this is a standard government practice and notified in the office procedure as well, that the level should not exceed 4. That means the file should not go through more than 4 levels. It should be disposed of maximum at the 4th level, because sometimes what happens is there are so many levels. So LDA will write and send it to UDA, UDA will send to HA, HA will send to EAC, EAC to ADC, ADC to so many levels are involved for a simple matter for which it was not supposed to be sent to so many levels. It could have been disposed of at the EAC level itself. So this general principle has to be kept in mind by all dealing assistant, by all branch officers, by all officers, that this level of disposal, the levels of disposal basically should not exceed 4, and it should be disposed of before it goes beyond the 4th level. Now in some cases where the matter is urgent, suppose, and the subordinate officers are not present or they are engaged in some other activity, so it can be directly, the level jumping can be done in certain cases, and it could be directly put up to the superior officer. But when when it is done, then that information has to be shared with all the levels which have been jumped because of the urgency. So everyone has to know what has happened, but it can be put up to the superior, most superior official in case of urgent matters. So this is what you have to understand. Now very important aspect of presenting and putting up files. Now you have understood all these what are the components of file. Now how this case should be put up to an officer. Now what is the hierarchy in which these things have to be arranged. So on top you have to put the reference book, if any, reference books if any. Then below it should be the note sheet. Note sheet also, the current page should be on the top. The current note should be visible, whatever you have written in the present case. Then after the note sheet, there should be running summary of facts. Summary. This is not in all applicable in all cases. Running summary of facts, basically a chronologically explanation of what all has happened in the present case. Then after that will come the DFA, draft for approval. Then after that will come the correspondence section, and after that will come the appendices. So whenever a file is put to an official, this should be the format of stacking these things one on top of the other. On the top, reference books, note sheet, then DFA, correspondence, and then the appendices to the notes of correspondence. So this is the general kind of accepted patterns which are there to be used while putting up a file. So I hope this small video on filing system has helped you, all the dealing assistants who are watching, to understand the basics of filing system. And basically all these videos being made under this category will be useful for the newly appointed LDAs and UDAs and office assistant in various government of course establishment and other establishments as well, because most of the time I have seen that these trainings are not done at many levels. These people are appointed and they are directly put to work, and these trainings, because there are a dearth of training experts, dearth of material, dearth of time, all those things. So that is one of the reasons I am inclined to make all these videos, which will be freely available on my channel for all kind of these dealing assistant who can watch and learn and get better at office procedure. So that was all about filing system. I hope you liked the video and got some important information on filing systems. Please comment below if you want me to cover specific topics related to office procedure. Please subscribe if you have not already subscribed. Hit the bell icon for latest videos and also share this with those who may find this useful. Thank you so much for watching.